we're here to talk about the topical issue of um, crime and violence in Jamaica and whether or not the music contributes to the crime and the violence that we're experiencing in our society. So, I'm going to be reading from the Jamaica Observer, and the title of the article is No More Scamming and Molly Songs. Broadcasting Commission bans music promoting illegal activities. And it says the Broadcasting Commission has issued a directive requiring broadcasters to immediately stop airing any audio or video which promotes scamming, abuse of drugs, illegal or harmful use of guns, or any form of criminal activity. In a statement on Tuesday, the Commission said this includes live editing and original edits, example edits by producer or label, as well as the use of near sounding words as substitutes for offensive lyrics, expletives, or profanities. The Commission says the directive reinforces their commitment to keeping the airwaves free of harmful content, given the important role traditional media still play as agents of socialization. The use of the public airwaves to broadcast songs that promote or glorify illegal activity could give the wrong impression that criminality is an accepted feature of Jamaican culture and society. It could also unwittingly lend support to moral disengagement and furthermore normalize criminality among vulnerable and impressionable youths. The young adult demographic, the release said. Executive Director of the Commission, Cordell Green, said this directive was the end product of wide-ranging process that included focused monitoring, decoding of subculture, dialect, and urban slangs, deliberations on balancing free expression vis-a-vis protection from harm, and consultations with industry. Part of the difficulty in dealing with music, especially that which emerges from a subculture, is that it takes time to identify, understand, and verify the slangs and colloquial language used. He added, understandably, new street lingua may take some time before they are normalized or their meanings become well entrenched. The Commission also has to be circumspect in its actions, knowing that regulatory attention can have the unintended consequence of giving exposure to and popularizing subcultural phenomenon. So that is what was said in this news release, and the Broadcasting Commission is saying we don't want these songs to be played on our airwaves, and so we have some entertainers who have, you know, decided that well, this is just bogus. It's not going to work for us, and at the end of the day, we don't think that this is right. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to um, affect the way that crime and violence is portrayed in our society. And this is just a kind of scapegoating by the powers that be to make it seem as if, you know, um, is the music that is responsible for what is happening when it is indeed not. And so one of those persons who felt that this was bogus was Rush. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Rush's response to, or basically him telling us how he feels about the whole music ban.
A lot of people, when me even travel across Jamaica, and I'm like, yo, you meet out some people in a Mobile or you meet out some people in St. Elizabeth, and you say, yo, when When you come to Kingston, G, or you meet all a girl and you say, when last you come to Kingston? And them say, yo, we never got a place yet. Enough people me meet in Jamaica don't leave them parish for whatever reason. They never go to Portland yet. You know what I'm saying? Enough people in Kingston never go St. Elizabeth yet. To me, that is astonishing. I'm play everywhere in Jamaica. Every 5 square miles I've DJ there already. Big up Jamaica. But I said that to say, if you were to stand up in a New Kingston, or you go Manhattan and you look up and you see a 100-story building and you see a 50-story building. You see when you're standing from the foot of the building and you look up, the building look like, all of them look like they're the same height because they're so tall. You have to basically step back to get perspective. If you don't step back and back off of Manhattan Island and go across the Columbus now and go across in Brooklyn and look at the skyline, you're not going to realize which building is really rich, how tall certain things are and how compared to other things. You have to back off to get perspective is what I really say. And it's a fact. Producer can tell you. You have the raw cut, you have the foreign radio edit and the Jamaican radio edit. And this is not a 2022 thing. This is from way years now. We've always had the strictest radio. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what does that accomplish? Has anybody in Jamaica seen an improvement? I mean, is the place better off now? Like, why may I tell you, say, yo, right now, yo, I've seen no difference. Like, since Ramping Shop come off of the radio, remember the big thing, Ramping Shop? Has anybody noticed any difference in, like, picnic them and lewd behavior and what? I thought it would have made a difference, like, since the music make a difference and it had got changed something. What happened? Why we never seen a difference when it came off of radio? What happened? Seeing? When daggering, you can't even say the word daggering on radio right now. You can't play no daggering song. Seeing? You can play it anywhere else in the world, but you can't play it in Jamaica, you know what I mean? It's the root of evil. So when it come off of the radio, what happened?
Here he is making the point about when they took Ramping Shop off the radio and whether or not that made a difference. We have to be fair here because they took Ramping Shop off the radio. We have to understand that there were several things happening. There was they had something against cartels. So they were trying to clamp down on Vibes Cartel's influence. They recognized that he was a very prolific figure and still is to some extent. And the influence that he wielded over the younger folk, especially, was the state felt threatened. And so that is why he was targeted. And that is why his music was being targeted. But to be fair, the Ramping Shop style of music never changed. So even though they took Ramping Shop of the airwaves, it was still being played elsewhere. And music are music that has the same kind of content, raunchy content, was still being played. So to use that as an example is missing the point. If you, it's like if one parent takes something away from the child and the other parent gives it back to the child, but the other parent is not even aware that the child. So it's like, oh, you realize that there is no change. Was like, no, but the child is still getting this thing that you're trying to prevent him from getting the first. Because on the one hand you took it, and on the other hand the other parent is behind your back, giving the child what he or she wants. And so you realize that the behavior that you're trying to cultivate or curtail, your efforts are being undermined by someone or something else. So with respect to the Ramping Shop, that kind of music, or well, it's not music because it's dancehall anyway, but the kinds of lyrics that are in the Ramping Shop music never stopped. I mean, Spice just come out with tape measure, and it's almost a soft porn. So let's just be real. They were targeting Vice Cartel. So there were several things happening there. They were targeting Vice Cartel, and that's why they really targeted him. And I guess they probably used it. Oh well, this is too raunchy or too lewd. We don't want it on the airwaves. But those kinds of lyrics were still being portrayed by other artists in their songs. Moreover, it was being played. It wasn't on the airwaves, but you got a dance it plays. I can't recall a dance that I've been to that, I don't know. You can't ban music from a dance. If I go to a party, the Broadcasting Commission has no control over parties. So to say, oh, you ban it from the airwaves, what, and it did nothing change. Yeah, it was banned from the airwaves, but it was still being played. When you as a DJ go to a party to play, you're gonna play the song because it's not being broadcasted over the airwaves. You're in a fixed location, and it's just being played in that location, and there's no the Broadcasting Commission has no jurisdiction over what is being played. And people have it on their phone, they this, they that. So it's kind of like, them banning it would not have achieved anything because you still can play the song if you want. You still had access to the song if you want. You could buy the CD or you could download it somewhere. You could go watch it on YouTube. I mean, so to say that it never did anything is that the ban had no teeth, just like this one has no teeth. But let us continue to hear what Mr. Rush has to say.
Jamaican radio is the strictest, and it has always been the strictest. And you could make it stricter and stricter and stricter. We will see no difference, no change, none at all. The same songs that are popular here are popular in the most peaceful Caribbean islands around the Caribbean. They're popular in all places in the world where all these artists are traveling. Them travel there because they're popular. The same, but they don't have the crime wave like Jamaica.
So he's saying here that the same music that the Broadcasting Commission is seeking to ban here is popular elsewhere, and they don't have the level of crime and violence that Jamaica has. And I think that's like comparing apples to oranges. I will give you a personal example. I was working at a hotel back in 2006, I believe, 2006. And there was this guy who was at the hotel. He was from the Canary Islands. So he's Spanish. Did not speak English. He was a rust. He had dreadlocks, so he locked his hair the natural way, not the cosmetic locks. His hair was like locks, long dreads. He had that. Never spoke a word of English, but he knew every Bob Marley song word for word. And Miguel, his name was Miguel. Miguel would be singing "One Love, One Heart, let's get together and feel alright." And he would sing the words of the song. But if you're trying to communicate with Miguel in English, Miguel does not understand what you're saying, but he can sing the Bob Marley song. He idealized Bob Marley, everything, yeah, Jamaica, no problem. That's all he can say. But everything else, it's kind of like, okay, oh yeah, you have to speak to him in Spanish or try to speak to him in Spanish. We know one or two words, and the other girl know one or two words, and the two of you make one, and it's with just there trying to get the gist of what each other is saying because he never spoke English, but he knew the song word for word. So when you're going to say that the song is being played in other cultures, the Jamaican culture is different from other cultures, and so obviously the impact that the song will have on Jamaicans, because we create the songs, we understand the lingo, we understand the non-verbal, the undertones that are there, and so someone who is just listening. It's kind of like with rap and hip hop. Like when they did, like okay, fine, the beat is nice and we singing and whatever. Look at Jerusalem. Nobody knows, like we don't know what the words of the song mean, but all of us were there dancing. Jerusalem, Hikayala me, Gil, and you know we were all there dancing. It's I don't know, Afrobeat, whatever. I don't know what genre it is. Nobody knows. We don't know what this song is. We don't know what this song is saying. But we were all there singing and that, and everybody was. There were videos. They were like across the world. Everyone was making the dance thing to the Jerusalem song. We don't know what the words of the song are saying because we don't speak. I don't even know what language is it in, if it is Swahili or whatever. Because there are several languages that are being spoken on the African continent. So to say that, you know, the way an African the song would have a different impact on the African on a person who understands what the song is saying. An African person, or I don't know what nationality the person who sang. I think they're probably Ghanaian or Nigerian, one out of the two. But somebody from their nationality would have a different perspective of the song than me, who I don't, you know, I like the beat and I like the dance and whatever, and so you're just there and you're enjoying the song and you're enjoying yourself because it has a nice vibe to it, but you don't know what the song is saying. So you are not going to be influenced in that way. You just like the beat. And in most cases, the Jamaican, it's the beat people go with. It's like you sometimes you're singing over this, you don't know what the song is saying. You have absolutely no idea what the song is saying. Sometimes you might get just the hook or the chorus or whatever, and that's all you can say, but the rest of the song, you don't know what the hell it's saying. You understand? A casual listener or somebody who's outside of the culture and just, oh, that song sounds catchy, because it's the rhythm that gets you and not so much the words, especially for an outside person. For a Jamaican, no, when we hear say, bad man, because we understand what it is saying. A foreigner don't really to get that. Because you have all these people who don't understand patois singing the song just the same. Like, so how are you going to expect that it's going to affect them the same way that it affects us? That does not make any sense to me, because they don't speak our language. They don't understand our culture. So for you to believe that it's going to have the same impact, it's like we don't have an issue if we go out in the sun, we're black. But a white person may get sunburns and skin cancer. So it's like, come on now, the argument is not balanced.
So then maybe it's not the music. Or maybe the music makes zero difference. Oh, but Rush, that don't make no sense. Because if Cartel can make man wear clocks, then clocks obviously have an influence on people. And when me in a bad mood, I play a certain song and you don't know, certain song give me a vibe, so obviously it make you feel a certain way and it can affect you.
It don't make no sense for true, Rush. Come on. You cannot say music does not make a difference. You can't say music does not make a difference. I just don't understand how you could sit there and rationally think that that makes sense. It doesn't. If I say what I am saying to you now will have an impact on you in some way. Yeah, that's it, guys. It's words. If a man see you out the road and say you're Rose, brr, 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 and him say something to you will trigger you, you might thump him in the face. Why? You're not generally a violent person. But if a man diss you, a words him say not touch you, and the words caused you to act. How many people die in Jamaica because of a diss? A man diss a man and him come and name him food. It's just words. Let alone you're saying, so music is a words too. Someone is saying something, and what you say can influence someone to do something. I don't understand how you can't see that. If me go out a road and me this a man, me don't know what the man can react to it and do something. So what does that mean, that oh, he has no morals or he has no, it doesn't. We're human beings, and you cannot there's nothing binary when it comes to us. You can't determine how someone will react in a given situation. Words have power, and they have the power to move people to act. Why do you need to inspire anybody then? Why do we look up to people? Why does if someone says something to you, why say I was down and my brother it moves you. It caused you to do something that perhaps you on your own would not be able to do. So to say music can is not the rhythm, it's the spoken words. Words have power. There is life and death in the tongue. That is not fiction, that is reality. And like we all know this. This is not something that it can be refuted. It's not fairy tale. It is facts. So why like nobody like it's spoken words, my friend. So if you're saying something out of your mouth, it will have an impact on people.
I'm asking you this. See, there's a topic I been want to avoid, but I'm asking you this. Which song can make you turn raper? Which artist? Which are the, like, think about it now, I'm asking you. Which one of the songs them can make you start sex animal? What, maybe if them they combine like the whole of the bad hip hop artists them and the Jamaican one them and they must sing it like, yo, turn raper, turn raper, turn. You think you could have turn raper? Alright, which artist combination could have make you go home and stab your mother? Or which artist combination could make you turn child molester? None? But I thought murder was like the worst crime ever. I thought that, murder was worse than rape and worse than child molestation. I thought murder was the worst, like the worst punishment, like the worst, number one most moral crime is murder.
You see, this is why I hate having conversations sometimes, because when you're trying to have a conversation, especially about a topic that is not binary, it's not black and white, it's not yes or no, it's not either or, it's something that is nuanced. People tend to try to come up with what I would call straw man argument, nothing that is really relevant to the topic at hand. Because basically you're saying that if someone holds a moral position, there is nothing that can make that person depart from that moral position. Life is not black and white. There are circumstances that cause people to depart, because you can hold a moral position and you can set it aside and say, in this situation, to hell with whatever, I'm going to do this. You talk about rape. There is hardly anybody in there's no civilized person who's going to say that rape is right. Right? And look at the people who are accused of rape. Why would you need a law against rape if it's because it's a thing in our society where that's a moral position? Rape is bad. We all know that. Everybody knows that. You can't go force someone to have sex with you against their will. Everybody knows this. And even if you're like, okay, I wouldn't want somebody to come force themselves on me. So if we don't want to push it out there on anybody, I wouldn't want anybody to come force themselves on me and invade my personal space and violate my body. You wouldn't want that. There's no one who would say, yeah, me want somebody for rape me. Nobody not gonna say that. Right? So we all agree that that's a moral position that we take. Then why do we still have incidences of rape in our society? Since we all have that moral position. It's one of our core beliefs. We don't believe, say, you're supposed to violate a person like that. You don't believe it, me not believe it. There's nobody in their right mind who believe that shit, but people do it anyway. Because people are people, and there's nothing binary about us. We are just, there's just this randomness to how people may react in any given situation. So you cannot make it seem as, okay, music can make you rape. Yes, it can. Music can make you kill nobody. Yes, it can. Because at the end of the day, it's spoken words. And seem like, oh, a man can convince himself, convince him friend. Look at let's look at the college joining these fraternities, and the it's like you have to do this or you have to do this. These are things that the recruits normally would not do on their own, and we see instances where sometimes they end up dead. Don't you think that they know that what they're doing in that moment is wrong? Don't you think that the persons who are asking them to do it know that it is wrong? Why are they doing it anyway? People are social beings. We are all social animals, and we will do things to fit in. You got one party, and a man be saying there with your friend, you're not a violent person, but it's kind of like, well, worse if you see one girl the way you like, you have to go defend that shit. When if you weren't there with friends or the girl you like never did it, you that just make it go on because it's like, okay, well, I'm not a violent person. But no, you have to go defend your ego or your manhood, or you have to go prove, say, boy, you is not a pussy. So what you say don't make no sense, Rush. What you say don't make no sense. You cannot say that words have no, because you're making, when you say music, when the it's not just the sound, it's the spoken words. So take away the sound, take away the what we call it, the acoustics. I'm not a music, I don't know what you call it. The acoustics. Take away the acoustics and the rhythm and the whatever, and just the words themselves. Because that's what we're talking about. The spoken words. And you're saying they have no impact. So what is this kind of emotional abuse? How emotional abuse comes into play? How can someone be traumatized by what is being said? Because it happens. You can be influenced by something and you don't know. A lot of people, when they go to therapy and they are exhibiting a certain kind of behavior, and they are attributing it to one thing, and then it's when they go through therapy, they're like, oh my God, it's when your mother used to say you are old croft, or you're a workless boy, or whatever, and that is what you have internalized, and now you're acting out and beating your woman. Because your mother made you feel less than, and now you decide to say your woman can't make you feel less than. But you, in your mind, you're not going to think, say, your mother, when your mother say a trigger, So it is not that simple as, okay, if a man, if the music I say, shot boy in them, it make 10 dopey. If you are a normal person, whatever, it's not going to make you go kill a person. Go kill, go kill a man. But you're looking at it from one perspective. We have people in our society. How do these people get into gangs and get involved in bad? How do they get involved in badness? Because yes, we have gunmen in Jamaica, they kill people. How them become good? They know nobody no ban a gunman, my lad. So how do they become involved in these? Them just get up one day and decide, say, well, me go and turn a gunman and kill people because my life is that. Is that what happened? Tell me. No child, nobody no born out of their mother womb bad. So how you become bad? How do you become bad? There are a combination of factors. It can depend on where you grew up and the kind of influences that are in your life. So you cannot say that spoken words take away the acoustics, the accoutrement, leave the words of the song itself, just the words that are being spoken. You cannot say these words have no power. You cannot say that these words cannot affect people. You cannot say that these words cannot influence people to do stuff.
But if the song can't make you even turn rape, it's unbelievable. Hells no. But a song going to make you turn murderer though, right? Oh, but just not you. But other people it can do it too, because them stupid and you alone. Alright, let me tell you this. Music cannot affect your moral compass. You have a morality in you that cannot be changed by music. Saying? Now, if your moral line is this, music now make a change.
No, you're looking at it wrong, Rush. It's not as simple as, oh, I hear a song and I go kill somebody. Come on. That makes no goddamn sense. It's not as simple as, oh, I hear a song. This is something that you should know that people will do things because everyone else is doing it. People will do things because everyone says it's okay, and if you're not doing it, you look like an idiot. You are aware of the Milgram experiment. Me no need to tell you what the Milgram experiment is because you know. So a man go in a room, sit 10 other somebody in there, and them a get up and sit down, get up and sit down. He don't know why them a get up and sit down, but he figure more or say, boy, well, if them a get up and sit down, there must be a reason, so me go and get up and sit down too. Simple, we not figure a Milgram experiment. You walk down the road and when you look, you see everybody a tear a come so. And I, why? What go happen? You are go tear down the road. You don't know what is happening. But you go and take up your foot and head in the direction where everybody they run to because you going assume say something is going on down there that people are trying to get away from. You don't go say, let me see what they go on down there. That is how human. That is what a normal you. That is how a normal human being will react. So if you have a country that is steep in crime and violence, you have a young man now living at the garrison, living at the ghetto, and when him look, him see all of the bad man them are artists, and them are talk about them this. Not only are they singing it, because make no mistake, this is not like back in the day of Bob Marley when man just a sing song. These artists when them a sing, them a do it. And the youths know that they're doing it. So you need to be, you can't be disingenuous. What them are saying, then they fucking do it. So if me, you have a 10-year-old, or you grew up in a community, so from your born, this is what you're seeing around you. And the song is there, and you see, well, them have girls, them have money, them this, them that, them rare, them have everything I go on for them. And me going the right way, trying to go to school and get it's like it's not working out for me. Them a bad man, so me go and turn a bad man to because at the end of the day, one, everywhere you turn, the badness is being promoted and glorified, and you see where they are reaping the rewards of that badness. So, what do you think is going to happen? It's not just the song, it's everything that comes with that. Because the same people who are committing the crime, who are involved in it, are either friends with the people who are doing it themselves. This is where we are in Jamaica right now. So don't like, come on. This is where we are in Jamaica right now. Most of the people in the dance are bad people them. It's bad people them. Bad people them. You can't talk to them and say your face get licked up and not just right. They say there's nothing you can do about it. Are them a par with people who are doing the things, and the Jamaicans, the people who are there influencing, see them, know them, see the kinds of activity that they are involved in behind the scenes, and then you hear it in the song. So they're singing what they are doing, and so it's kind of like, well, if him can do that and I make millions and popular, why me need to go to school and take my book? You go join them. You see, as a society, we determine what is right, what is wrong, what is acceptable. There's a very dangerous situation here with the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation. Don't believe I'm on their side. Me no depend for them side, me depend for their side, because we get the chat no make no gain sense, and with them do not make no sense neither. Because one, there has to be, it is not the broadcasting corporation's job to ban anything. In my view, the music is protected under free speech. That's my view. Them supposed to sing what they want to sing. It is our responsibility as a society to say this is not acceptable. It should not take the broadcasting corporation to say, no, this can blood clot go on here. So why are you out here defending this bullshit? Don't defend it. Do not defend these people who are singing these songs, because it is not helping our society. It is not helping our youth, and it's fucking up their psyche. It a mess with their meds, and you cannot sit there and say it does not, because it does. You're being disingenuous when you do that. And this is not something where we're going to agree to disagree. You're friggin' wrong. And the argument don't, you're fucking wrong. It's that like that you're wrong. You what we are look to for government to fix the government can't fix crime and violence in Jamaica. Jamaicans have to. And even if the government is bringing the guns, I know the government are shoot, nobody. And we are killing one another. The change has to come from us. So what dance are supposed to come together? We're supposed to come together and be the gatekeepers. So when them little little piss and tail boy they come with them fuckery, we shut them out. It's just that simple. That is what is supposed to happen. But at the end of the day, when you come and drag Jamaica down into this quagmire, I mean, I talk you personally, but the music is reflecting what is. No, the music is not reflecting what is happening. These people are singing what they're doing. Nobody now beat now look against Babylon system again. We come and we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk. The government is doing some bullshit. Look, if the music was reflecting, what is it? Look back during the coronavirus lockdown and all the foolishness that was happening and all the lies that were told. Which artists come and sing about it? Was the airwaves flooding with songs from these artists telling people, say, hey, they're trying to kill us, this, that, rare. Which song you hear them and make? How much artists just come out and make a song to reflect the lockdowns and what people were, even if it just reflect the kind of struggles that people were, if you don't want to talk about the jabby jab, for whatever reason, but at least, you know, the suffering that people were going through, the emotional turmoil. Nobody. It's same gun violence. It's the same gun violence. 2 years of a pandemic. And nobody was singing about the pandemic. Everybody was still, it's the same Mali. No, there's a Mali problem in Jamaica. Why is there a Mali problem in Jamaica? Because the artists are doing it and they're singing it. And we see now we have an issue because Jamaica, we never had they were saying drugs running through Jamaica. Like, yeah, but Jamaicans don't take drugs. There is a transshipment point, but drugs is not being actively sold in Jamaica where you have a drug epidemic in Jamaica where the government affairs say we have to go try now because people coke out. That is not happening. But now we're having I don't even know what the hell Mali is, but we have a Mali problem because them are sing Mali song and the artists them are take the friggin' Mali. And then they are influencing people because you make it cool. If you make something cool, especially young people, they're very impressionable. They're going to do it. If you are saying that you cannot influence a 10th grader, a 9th grader, 8th grader, a 7th grader, a 11th grader, if you do something that they would normally do, then clearly you don't understand the kind of responsibility that artist holds. Who is the young people doing it? Most of the murders have been done, but look at the stats. Most of them is under 30. Young men doing the killings. They are the ones who are being influenced. We're not talking about big greyback man. It's young people that we're talking about. And they have done studies that show that there was a study that was done because they looked at whether or not, you know, if students listen to college students listen to music with violent lyrics, if it affects them. So the title of this study was, and this was done I think in 2003, Exposure to Violent Media, the Effects of Songs with Violence Lyrics and Aggressive Thoughts and Feelings, by Craig Anderson, Nicholas Carnegie at Iowa State University and Jenny Newbanks at the Texas Department of Human Services. And this was published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and also promulgated by the American Psychological Association. This is sociology that we're talking about. It's not physics or mathematics that is binary. It's sociology. and human interactions. Now, what did this study look at? So songs with violence lyrics increase aggression related thoughts and emotions, and this effect is directly related to the violence in the lyrics, according to this study that was published by the American Psychological Association. The findings appearing in the May issue of the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology contradicts popular notion of positive catharsis or venting effects of listening to angry violent music and violent thoughts and feelings. In a series of 5 experiments involving over 500 college students, researchers from Iowa State University and the Texas Department of Human Services examined the effects of 7 violent songs by 7 artists and 8 non-violent songs by 7 artists. The students listened to the songs and were given various psychological tasks to measure aggressive thoughts and feelings. One such task involved participants classifying words that can have both aggressive and non-aggressive meanings, such as rock and stick. To control for factors not related to the content of the lyrics, the violent and non-violent songs were sung by the same artist and were in the same musical style in 3 of the experiments. In the other 2 experiments, the researchers tested the arousal properties of the song to make sure the violent lyric effects were not due to differences in arousal. Also, individual personality differences related to hostility were assessed and controlled. The study also included songs with humorous lyrics to see how humor interacted with violent song lyrics and aggressive thoughts. Results of the 5 experiments show that violent songs led to more aggressive interpretations of ambiguously aggressive words, increased the relative speed with which people read aggressive versus non-aggressive words, and increased the proportion of word fragments such as H T, where that were filled in to make aggressive words such as hit. The violent songs increase feelings of hostility without provocation or threat, according to the authors. And this effect was not the result of these differences in musical style, specific performing artists, or arousal properties of the song. Even the humorous violent songs increased aggressive thoughts. I don't want to read all of it. You can go and read it for yourself. But they have done the research and they are saying that we went into the college and we did an experiment and we realized that even people who weren't typically violent, after them listen to the song, they tend to be more aggressive. No, let me go to the actual study itself because it said something very peculiar. Long-term effects operate in much the same manner, except that the proximate source of the high accessibility of aggression, cognition, and effects is the chronic state of the individual rather than a recently heard violent song. Repeated exposure to violence lyrics may contribute to the development of an aggressive personality. That is what it says. Repeated exposure to violent lyrics may contribute to the development of an aggressive personality. So it is very disingenuous when someone is going to say, you can't just look funny as black and white. Well, if you listen to a song, can it make you kill somebody? As a big man, no, it can't. But as a 10-year-old who is listening to this song, is seeing the violence being played out in society, the lyrics of the song is promoting and glorifying violence. When he reaches 19 years old, that will have an impact on him. Because if you grow up in a violent environment, the music, everything around you is just violent. And the music is glory. It's not like so the music is denouncing violence, The music is saying this is cool. Why do companies pay you as artists, DJs, and celebrities to promote their shit? Why do they pay you? Because you have no influence. You can't influence nobody if you do nothing. Why them pay you no? Why do they pay you? Because they know you have influence. You can influence people to buy them stuff. It's just that simple. Why do they pay the Kardashians millions of dollars for muggling or some clothes? Why? Why do they do that? Because the moment Kim Kardashian come out in it, one bag of people run gone by. Now you may say, well, that is not the same thing as killing somebody. The influence here is insidious. It is something you are not, it is going to be very difficult. Nobody's going to say, well, I listened to a song and it made me, because you cannot, the person will not be able to associate the song or the repeated exposure to these violent lyrics to their violent tendency. There is no way a person, because there's no way you're going to be able to do that unless you're one of those spiritual person who because that is why spiritual persons, they don't listen to certain songs, they don't listen to certain kinds of music, they don't allow certain, because they know that it has an energy, it has a frequency, and if you're on that frequency, you're going to be in that state, and you're supposed to know this. Some me don't know what kind of fuckery they talk about, say music, yeah, whatever. No, obviously, it's like a two different kind of conversation I go on. Is the music responsible for the level of crime and violence in Jamaica? No. But it does, is the broadcasting corporation justified in banning scamming music and Mali music and music with violent lyrics? Yes and no. Yes, because as a member of society or as a group that is looking out for the interests of society, we do not want that kind of negative influence on our youth. We already have an endemic situation with crime and violence in Jamaica. We don't want to control fuel upon the fire. And that is what the music is doing. We don't want to control fuel upon the fire. So we are trying out the fire over here, so my lad. We know where they go with cursing ahead. Where you go with your gasoline? Like, we don't want that a water you're supposed to bring if you come out this a fire here. So they're correct there. However, they are wrong in the sense that as a regulatory entity, it is not their job to stifle free speech. And I would, in my view, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, this is just an opinion. I believe that the content, the lyrical content of songs, and this is not me contradicting myself, the lyrical content of songs should be or is protected under free speech. So the artist must be able to have that freedom of speech, freedom of expression. So nobody not supposed to regulate what they say. Full stop. However, remember there are limitations to free speech. I cannot go out and slander someone, right? Because that will now make me liable for slander. So even though I have free speech, I am not free to tarnish someone else's good name. So there is a limit on free speech. The limit is only because we are a civilized society. And in a civilized society, we want to conduct ourselves civilly among each other. And in that respect, we ensure that behavior is civil to maintain decorum so that we don't descend into a state of anarchy. So that is why there are limitations on the freedoms that we enjoy, freedom of speech being one of them. So if you see where speech is causing harm to society, then to some extent it simply means that you will have to rein in those persons who are causing the harm or limit the type of speech that is causing the harm, at least for a certain time. It shouldn't be indefinitely, but whatever, right? But it's a very slippery slope. It is a very slippery slope. When you're in the jaws of the devil, we are in the jaws of crime and violence right now. We don't want nobody there sing and glorify crime and violence. This is not art imitating life. This is some bullshit. You are come with gasoline and kerosene and matches for gas up the thing worse than we are trying out the blood clot fire. This is just so you get it. This is what is happening. Fire the blaze abound down the place. And we there so with water, I try two, water choke, run out of water. And instead of you come now with water for help, you have blood clot gas and cursing. That is what the violent lyrics does. It exacerbates the problem. It makes it cool. It influences people to accept these kinds of behaviors. And if they accept it, sooner or later they will indulge in it too. Remember, you know, if me I go tell you say, oh, if a boy this me him dead, what will happen? When you out a road and you in an argument with a man, you are going to be more prone to be violent towards the person as opposed to being peaceful. So it's not to say, oh, when you talk like say, okay, the song say, yo, boss me boss and you just get up and go to road and shoot a boy. No. When a situation presents itself where you would have otherwise chosen a non-violent path because of what you keep hearing and seeing around you, and in most cases people are there anyway, right? And you know if you are acting out what is in the song, but you are not in the moment when you're doing it, you're not thinking about, oh, I was listening to Skilly Bang and Skilly Bang say XYZ blah blah. Nobody's thinking about that. But it is in your subconscious. It has been programmed into your subconscious. And instead of taking a the non-violent route, you chose to be more aggressive. Because sometimes, you know, it's not like so you set out to kill the person. But you decide to say, oh, you're this, me, so I go say, I better say never, if you say XYZ blah blah again, me dig off your face. And the man have to go through and say, boy, yo, me not pussy, I'm not afraid of you. And he might go say what you say him can't say. And you know have to go show him say you're in a drug. And you dig off him face, one thing leads to another, and somebody end up getting stabbed or killed. So it's not like say you pre the music and you left your yard and say, all right, then a bad man thing, ray, and me go shoot a man and kill a man. It's like the music, because of the glorification of violence, when you find yourself in an aggressive situation, you're not trying to de-escalate the situation. You are not. You are going to now be that gangster and that bad man where the song I talk about, where you are listening to every day, because I hear them the song they are Mizan Bon Bombo Cloud weed. Let's be real, because that's what a lot of young people do. They listen to song every single fucking day, non-stop, and smoke weed, and I don't know how they fucking do it. And so now when you find yourself in a violent situation or a confrontation with someone else, instead of backing down, instead of walking away, you have something to prove. So when you're going like say a man list, you make it see it's like so trivializing the issue. And me expect better from you. You can't make it seem like say a man just listen to a song, put on in clothes, and go out a road, go just shoot a random person. Because obviously that don't make no fucking sense. And nobody not do that. But what the song does, what these kinds of songs do, is people do not try to de-escalate. People do not try to walk away. Because if you walk away, it's a punk. And no man know, because who is doing the violence? You know, right? I said 90% of violence is being committed by men. A man a do it, and a man a kill man. 90% of the murders that happen in Jamaica, a man dead. So no matter about violence against women, that's bullshit too. A man are dead, and who a kill them man. Because we have something to prove. So when a man step to you, instead of you saying, no, go on man, and you low him out and you go about your business, yeah, go step back to him and say, your pussy where you do. Do something, defend it, rare, and next thing, one thing leads to another. Somebody end up dead or injured. But you not going to think in the back of your mind, say, a song I do it. You understand? You look at it from a gunman perspective. You say, boy, I know music can't make you turn a gunman. All right, you see, you don't do cause of death. When you look on a death certificate, it has 4 lines, right? The immediate thing that killed you, The thing that followed that, and any underlying conditions where you have that may have contributed to you dying. That's how it works. So you have the murder. You would have the sit because you don't just go out and kill somebody. There would be a situation that caused you, that led to that murder. So either there was a confrontation, or somebody tell you if you go kill the person, if you're a contract killer or whatever. But we're not talking about gunmen, career gunmen, like people were literally a gunman, them just go kill people, right? Because remember, say you have regular people I kill people, like a two-man catch up and then just kill them one another, or one kill one. Because even recently I saw a video with two man, I don't know, there was two taxi driver in a mobile, and me don't know what kind of argument they in a, and them did they shoot after one another, shoot after one another, shoot, like literally. I think that was 2 months ago. And I'm like what the fuck? Two men catch up in an argument, they're licensed firearm holders, and they began to shoot at each other. So them are no gunman or no bad man. But what caused that? So you have obviously there's an intervening circumstance there, but what they would have been psychically programmed to respond in that way? Because me know, me have my gun. Me don't know if the other man have a gun, but me say, you know what, me don't want to shoot a brother today. So me I go to slow. So me when I run off him out, me I go turn a deaf ears to it and go me yard. But me no program to do that. You understand? So that is where the music comes in. There has obviously something. Nobody now just go out and kill, because that doesn't happen in Jamaica. Let's face it, that does not. People don't just get up kill people. So you have gang feud, you have gang doing them thing, them extortion and this and that, yeah, rare. But when you come and say like a man kill a man stab a man killing woman, or rare, right? It's a situation that leads up to that. And then it begs the question, why did that person not walk away? What caused that person now to act on their base instinct and commit that heinous crime? There are influences. There are things there that programmed in the subconscious that cause the person to react in that way. So, I mean, me not understand where you say music, no this, music, no that. Music has always been used. Entertainment has always been used as the thing that shifts people in whatever direction you want society to go. Are we not talking about Socrates and Aristotle and Plato and all these? They changed the psyche of the people with fucking words. So that hundreds of years later, we can still be talking about them and quoting them. Why is Bob Marley so popular? Do you think it's the acoustics? You think it's the it's the words of the songs. It's the words of the songs that he sang that resonated with people. So what we want, Jamaica is in a sad state right now when it comes to crime and violence. The music can change that. It can. But you don't want to take the bumbo clock responsibility. You do not want, you want the power and the influence and the this and the that and the collect the money and live your life and live big. But you don't want to accept the responsibility for the same people where I gear you forward. They're the ones who are affected. They're the ones who are impacted. You are Jamaican. And if you have an opportunity to change Jamaica for the better, do it. The music can make a difference. And anybody who thinks that it can't make a difference is a fucking idiot. And that's just on God. There is no excuse for no artist to come chat no fuckery. Yes, the Broadcasting Commission is blaming the music, and I get it, it hurts. But at the end of the day, you're not helping. Even if an argument can be made that, well, the music has no role in the level of crime and violence, which makes no fucking sense, because it does. It does. And this is not agree to disagree. It does. There is no refuting that. It does. But if you want to believe that it doesn't, fine. It can change the psyche of the people because this is a mental thing. You commit a crime in your head before you do the actual act. We have all these influential people where we put up Marcus Garvey, and we have all this stuff where them say, and we can dance. If you don't have confidence, you're twice defeated in the race of life. And we quote Malcolm X and we quote this and we quote, and at the same time, now say music and no bumbo clat influence. But if a TVJ come and a give you money, if you go promote some bullshit, on your channel, you go take the money. So what are you doing there? When you take money if you do a promotion, what are you doing? You're trying to influence people. You're trying to convince people to do something that they never even think about in the first place. That's what you're doing. So I don't get it. Influence is insidious. It is not something that you can say. A man can't tell you, say, yes, and the music me listen to, and it pump me if you go out and road go shoot a man. Nobody can tell you that because that's not how these things work. Nobody listens to anything and go and kill somebody unless they're under hypnosis. But when you find yourself in a confrontation, that is where the music comes into play. That is where the violent content, the music is here telling you, yo, if a boy this, me ray, and the boy this, you say you're going ray, blood clot, ray. A simple one too. Me notice it like the artist here is like, on the one hand, uno a cuss Jamaica, uno a cuss politician, and uno no bumbo clot better. Because when uno can make a change, the people art imitate life. But if we are violent, so no go and sing violent songs until we miraculously become non-violent again, then you start singing, and that you no go do. Let me know really to understand. When Jamaica was violent, Jamaica had the bloodiest election in the 1980s. What was Bob Marley singing? What the fuck was Bob Marley singing? When Bob Marley and when Siaga and Michael Manley passed stage for Shaken, violence in the Guanya. Was he singing about violence? When he carried the people on stage for Shaken, and when he went to England, figure meet with two of the gang people, whatever the case might be, he say, boy, how we they kill one another, you know? So we can't, the politicians then pit against each other because and I think there was one of them where we tried to bring priests and then kill him too. That's what those artists were doing. They were using their influence for good. They were not glorifying no fucking violence. They were telling the gunman them, say, yo, my lord, and we are killing one another, you know. The politicians, them nice. So we need to bring peace. And I remember which one of them got murdered. It wasn't Garnet Silk, was it? Jeez, it wasn't, I forgot. Oh God, I forgot his name. And it's the same thing they do to Bob Marley too. And tell lies I can't kill him. So let's just be real. They weren't there glorifying no fucking violence. They were there telling us to fight Babylon system. The Babylon system is a vampire. You understand? And licking out against the murderers. Murderer! I mean, come on. And I think Buju, when sing one song, murderer blood upon your shoulder, you kill it today, you cannot. He wasn't glorifying no fucking violence. They were eating out against it. So what are you talking about? Art imitate life and people singing this, that, blah, 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 radio. This makes no fucking sense. The music is what is causing what is happening now because it shifts away from calling out the music is supposed to be calling out the injustices. Crime and violence is an injustice. So why are you making it cool as opposed to calling it out, calling the gunsman out, turning the citizens against the gunman? No, you know, make the citizens then embrace violence. That's what you're doing. And I say, oh, we are not the ones who are causing the crime and violence. No, we make we sing and eat with food. A Bumbaclaw, Jamaica, the whole and only, we are all Jamaicans. And if crime and violence are beat with, but it is everybody's job to come in and say, yo, what can we do about it? And instead of uno help una throw pussyclad gas on the fire, And I say, well, we're not influencing it, but it's some bullshit. And if you stop on the fuckery and break up on and stop the bullshit and do for no part. Bob Marley and Peter Tosh them do for them part. When the fuckery was going on in the country, when the politicians were pitting us against each other, and I bring in the gun them in the garrison for people kill for them for the gang war and the whatever the political rivalries that were happening. The artists were trying to bring peace. Wasn't there a One Love Peace concert that Bob Marley Bumbleclad did, my lad? Listen to this. So violence was happening in their time. And instead of glorifying it, they were trying to squash it and say, yo, a peace we want, because we are all one, and a Jamaica this, and we want to make sure say, boy, everybody can live peacefully and free a yard. That's what they were trying to do. And nobody no bigger than Bob Marley to this day. Nobody out of Jamaica no bigger than Bob Marley to this day. And he wasn't there singing and glorifying bumbleclad violence. So, what we talk about? And it did make a difference. And if the government was on his side, it would have even made a greater, but the government was against them. And then they end up killing them. That's what happened. But we don't need government now fee of push violence in Jamaica because the artists them take over and do it. There are no ambassadors of crime, connoisseurs of crime. Most of them are gunmen too. Are in bed with gunmen. So right now, nobody can talk nothing bad about cartel, else you're dead. And that's just that. I mean, let's just be real. You can't, because Lisa Anna way open fear mouth and she have to end up a walk with bodyguard. And you say artists now no influence. When Lisa Anna went up my mouth about Vibes Cartel, and I don't remember what she said. I think it was before COVID too. She went a fear walk with bodyguard because then decided to say, well, anywhere we catch you, we're going near your food. So what are you talking about? It is not art imitating life. It's artists creating a violent space in Jamaica with their violent sounds. They are creating the violence because we are in a culture that is so focused on attention. And it's the negative stuff that gets attention. Nobody then catch one artist with gun, reticle or whatever you want. Tamili no their prison. Which other one? Tamili their prison, or when their prison for? I remember saying you when I call for murder and stuff and them get him. Cause a bulla, them bulla him, you know, them get him on a gunshot, so them say we couldn't get you on the murder. So we went just throw fling the book at you on this a gun charger. And there are a few others. I remember saying every minute Josh name a call. So it's not art imitating life. It's not art imitating life. Most of these artists are either gunmen or involved with them. So what you talk about? Stop the fuckery, man. Stop it. We need the crime and violence to stop. And music can play a big role in shifting. Because the gunman, them out there are human beings. You know. Make no mistake, they're human beings. And we can bring it down to a level. Crime and violence not going to stop. You can't stop that. But we can bring it down to a level where we can say, boy, Jamaica nice. And the music can do that. It can. But you don't want to do it. Because at the end of the day, you unjustly enriched by it. And it's not the older artists, them like the Tanya Stevens and stuff, they will feel some type of way because they're not, Tanya not sing no violent song, but she would have, when we say no, group up in a hit, so obviously she go feel some type of way and say, what the fuck would not talk about violence and this and that, really? But it's like, it's not you. It's the Skilly Bang and I don't know, I don't know their names. It's the younger artists that we really talk, because they're the ones singing the Mali songs and glorifying the gun and the whatever, the demon thing. They're the ones doing it. It's not the bounties and the beanies and the because even bounty and beanie don't have the badness now anyway. They're not really too depend that anymore, because you know what I mean? So, and for them thing we set up different, and how they did their thing is not what these guys are doing now. What Beanie and Bounty when I do, I know what them people are doing now. It's not. I told them depend us different. For them thing is real. For them, when them talk about who, if me see you out, let's say I got me shooting your head, them means if they see you out the road, them I go shooting at your head. Whereas Bounty and Beanie we got sting and them what you want, this, that, and it's just all fun and games, it's music. Everybody make their money and got their yard. And the argument done, and it's just the, we know say I know nothing, it's not nothing serious way, okay, Beanie have to go get 1,000 police face cut in guy yard because Bounty have to kill it. Them a boy with the thing say them we kill you, if them see you out the road, then go kill you for true. So what the fuck you talking about? We have to be real. You can't come with gasoline and troop and fire we are try out, my lord. And that is the thing. Remember, say your subconscious not know how to filter out garbage, So if you expose to violence every single day, in the song, in the music, in the video games, in the this and the that, what you think I go up, my lord? The people are going to become violent. That's just the reality. We want Jamaica to be better. Why do we not want to be a part of that change? We don't really to understand. Yes, it's unfair for the government to come and blame you, but if you don't sing for the government couldn't blame you. If they never out there glorify badness and choppings and taking drugs, there's no way the government could have blamed you. Art not imitate life, yes, sir. A life imitate art. People are emulate what the artists them are sing and what the artists them are do. We are living in a dopamine-induced society now, and you're supposed to know that. We're living in a dopamine-induced society right now, and people will do anything for fame and fortune and the hype and the whatever. So what you think I go when you go this and a boy diss him, or a boy tap on him foot, or a boy look on him a certain way? Him a go step to him. And most people now go back down. Because you go say, I want to the brother, yeah, man. And next thing you know, a man pulling gun and shoot you. Or a man take out his knife and stab you. Or a man in friend them, you understand, come back for you because boy you win this them or whatever the case might be. And you end up dead. And where is that coming from? The same song them sit down and them when they read and make the damn song and fuck up them men and fuck up them fuck up them brain. And that is not something that can be denied. That is facts, that is reality. And make no sense we try to go around the curve and come on the corner and beat around the bush and go on like say that is not happening. It is happening. And the change begins with us. Same how we respect Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. We look at their songs. What were they singing? And what was happening in their time? Was there crime and violence? Yes, there was. What did they do about it? They actively, in their song and in their actions, in their daily lives, they tried to change it. But I come now with no bullshit I come talk about. Me just a sing when me see. Fuck that shit. Stop glorifying crime and violence. Stop glorifying crime and violence. Because it has an influence on the youth. It does. I mean, me not go agree with nobody. I don't care who you are. When we come chat some fuck about say music can't make you kill nobody and music can't make you do bullshit. It can't make you kill nobody, but you are no murderer. Look on the people. Look at the people who are involved in this. It's the little ones. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old boys. They are the ones who are out there committing the crime and the violence. My lord. And the influence of the bumbo clap music can make them do it. We are talk about. Bad man, the old man, them went bad from day one. Music now no influence on them because they went done bad. The little toddler them now. 14, 15, this, that, ray. Why them so bumbo clap violent? Listen to every look wagwan. They must see it happening in society, and they must see it and the song and make it seem cool. So violence are going in the society, and the artists they must say, yeah man, and that and they saw the thing there. All right, they saw the thing they write about. You know, make four up. You see me? Yeah, and they saw it there. What do you think if that's what we're telling our youths? And you're thinking that it doesn't have an impact on them. It doesn't like what the fuck? Like who thinks I mean like how can you think that? How can you think? If your mother can't say something to you, what traumatize you all of the whole of your life? Why do you think that music cannot influence a young person to do something? They're still forming, they are still programmable. Yes, they're still programmable. We not talk about big great one, big grey back man. We are talking about the youths. Because when you look at who are do the thing, is the people them under 30. Mostly 60% of them, the crime and the violence are under 30 people are doing it. Young people doing it. And the music plays a significant role in that. It's not something we can trace with a straight line from the music to the crime. If I saw you go look funny, that is a stupid way of looking at it, and you will never be able to find it like that. Because I know so life work. When it comes to socialization, there's nothing binary about it. There's nothing that you can quantify about it. You don't know how something I go. You can't sit down and say something that influence me. You cannot say, oh, music can't influence me or this here. You can't say that. And sometimes I can't even say that because there's a subconscious mind. There is a subconscious mind. And the subconscious is taking information every single time. And it cannot differentiate between good and bad. It's the conscious mind that does. And if your subconscious is being filled with this fucking garbage, what do you think I will come to the conscious mind when you're in a one situation? Because the conscious will have to pull from the subconscious when you're in a one situation, you know. And if your subconscious full up with violence, because it everywhere, the music, I glorify it and I say, yes, it good. Worse if you have your artist where you are my artist and my bad artist that you know, yo. And your artist that tell you, say, yo, if a man this year, you have to make him in a dopey. Like, yeah, you know, go they go turn a man in a dopey. But when a man this, you know, that I go come back in your mind. And you now go walk away. That's the caveat. It's not like so you go just shoot him. The man this and you just shoot him, he's dead. No. You go and escalate the situation to the point where it leads to violence. That is what it is the lyric, it is the influence that thing has on you. Because otherwise you probably would have just say, you know, yeah, idiot, man, you can't go and talk and you go and do your business. But no, me not gonna say that because more and dig off a boy face because a boy just diss me. So me I go say back something with it burn him, and I go say back so till it leads to a confrontation and one of we end up dead. What caused that? Why did you not walk away? Why did you not de-escalate the situation? And in most cases, people around you now try to de-escalate because first time gone, you know, quarrel and fight when people are running and try, that now happen again. That now happen again. Nobody now try to squash nothing. Nobody are egg on too. And they so we there. So what are you talking about? And why is that? Them, yes, you're right. If them band the song after the airwave, it's not gonna make a difference. Because the artists them still are gonna make the song them and play them. And no still the DJ them are gonna play them in the dance. Because dance no governed by broadcasting commission. Your sound system no governed by the broadcasting commission. So when we have a man keep a dance out of Elsha and them tell you if you come play your song, the broadcasting commission no can't govern that. So you're going to play the Mali song them and the gun song them and the violent song them. So banning it off the airwaves, the only thing that it does is to send a message to say, hey, this is a problem and we cannot tolerate this in our society. And we are hoping that we're calling on you to make a change. Change the content of your lyric. You can sing about the violence, but it should be denouncing it, not glorifying. You can sing the same thing, flip it on its head, and say, yo, you know, make the man them know so one do a fuck my lord. Because we are killing one another. And the people, because really and truly, who's supposed to get killed and get killed? You understand? We are killing one another. And as long as we are killing each other, it not go solve. Because they don't care about us. This is what Uno understand. The politicians, The Upton Down and the Cardell Greens and the Onlyses of Jamaica don't care about us. We can kill as long as we kill one another, them no business. As long as we're killing each other, they don't give a fuck. Them not here. So them not gonna do nothing about it. Because only they kill themselves, so no fix that. Sort it out amongst themselves. What are they doing tangibly to curb crime and violence? And number one, the government is supposed to do nothing to curb crime and violence neither. A society is supposed to ensure say we no harbor criminal, we no put up with criminal, we no tolerate it no tal, and Lego jungle justice round here upon some of them. It will stop. Government only if we as citizens can stop the crime and the violence in the island. But we're not here. We are away from the government, and the government couldn't give up, couldn't care less. It works for them. Because the more divided we are, the more power they retain and the more relevance they retain. And that is what we don't understand. And instead, we keep blaming each other and cussing each other and hating each other. And then, when time comes for artists accept responsibility for the role that they're playing in this bullshit in the fucking country, now come talk about say, artists and music every 2 minutes on say music, this and music. Music is the most influential thing on the bumbo-clad planet, my lad. If you never know. Music are the most influential thing on the fucking planet. It is. Spoken words. Words have power. Words have power. There is death and there is life in the tongue. So stop on bullshit. Jamaica is afflicted with crime and violence. And the musicians, the artists, can make a difference. Follow the example of Bob Marley. Follow the example of Peter Tosh. And if you guys were doing that, the same icons that we look up to and glorify to this day, and we can sing their songs and they still resonate and they still are applicable and relevant to this day, why can't we be like them? Why do we want to be okay with these gun songs and scamming songs and drug songs, not denouncing them, glorifying them? Come on, man, do better than that. We're all Jamaicans. And we all should want, whether we live here or don't live here, or we have we money save up, we want ship and come out, because whatever. Jamaica is our home. You will never be home anywhere else but yes, or you're banned. Nobody can tell us you can't come here. This is your home. And it doesn't matter where in the world you are, Jamaica will always be your home. And you should always want to see Jamaica flourish. How does the gun songs and the drug songs and the violent lyrics help Jamaica? Especially when we are top list with crime and violence. And you think that it's okay for artists to be glorifying crime and violence and say it's art? Come on, man. Do better than that.